Tech for Senior, December 13th, episode 90. Ha! 90. Now, we're going to be into season 3 pretty soon. We're getting up there. So welcome everybody to Tech for Senior. We do have some new faces in the group today. As you know, this is, of course, a Zoom meeting. This is also being broadcast as well over onto YouTube. Now, the meetings are a little bit different. This will be an hour-long meeting for the Zoom people, but those of you who are over on YouTube listening, we'll be closing down in about 50 minutes just before Ray's music segment. If you want to hop back over here and participate in the Q&A, because at the top of the hour we'll be doing a Q&A session for 20 minutes. You're most welcome to come back over. We have 61 people in the audience today, so we've got lots of room for you over here on our Zoom meeting. So if you want to come back over and talk about anything today, then the Q&A is a good time to do that. As you know, we record these meetings, so our recordings are done, and of course you can go back and you can replay all 90 versions and watch the gang go over and over and over again. So that's well. And don't forget, we also have our Thursday show, which is called Tech for Senior Live, and on that we have we go over all the news articles that have happened in the week that we post to our Facebook page, and we go over those and talk about them and have some fun. And it's one of my most enjoyable parts of the week. I really enjoy meeting with Bob and the gang, and we all sit in Hewie and we sit around and have coffee and talk about old times and the news articles. And it's a great way to spend an hour on our Thursday morning. So if you want to come and listen to us, now that is not, we always have people logging in on a Zoom meeting. It's not a Zoom meeting. We stream that through a company called StreamYard, and it goes over to Facebook or YouTube. So you can see that show on either Facebook or YouTube, but it is not a Zoom meeting. I always see on my computer, there's a whole bunch of people always hit the Zoom link and try to watch our Thursday show with Zoom. And that, of course, isn't the way it goes. So now, and at the end of today at 1:30, I don't want to say 10 o'clock because Bob's going to give me the raspberry, because it's not 10 o'clock. It's always 1/2 the hour at the top of the hour will be our YouTube premiere service. And what we do on that is we take an episode from a year ago and I cut it up and make it into small packages for you can use in your computer club. And 1 year ago, episode 38 was Dewey, who should be here a little bit later on, was talked on a new packet manager. Hewie, who's off today, he's having his cardiac check. He's doing well. He's fine. Hewie he talks about, this was really interesting. I don't know if you guys remember the Google Arts and Culture page. That was really interesting. Bob talked about a product called Simply Safe, and I talked about shopping with Alexa. So those will be four sequences that will come on, and they will come on at 1/2 the hour on our YouTube channel. You can go and watch them. Once they come on, they're of course recorded, and you can go back and use them over and over and over again, as you can with any of the material that we have on our show. It's all taped, and you're welcome to use it. We hopefully you do, because we get our enthusiasm from your coming to listen to us. That works out really well. All right, let me introduce everyone today. Hewie, of course, as I mentioned, is away. He may be here a little bit later in the show. I'm not sure. Dewey, or let's talk to Bob. Bob, is it snowing? What's with the plaid shirt and and all the snow coming down? Are you getting snow?
Oh, but we're at 31 degrees right now. It's supposed to be warm. That's one of the reasons I moved to New Mexico. I found out afterwards, no, we got 4 seasons. And in the wintertime, it gets downright cold over here. And my background, of course, that's just a little virtual background. That's not what I have here. Thank God.
Well, listen, I saw on the show on Sunday that you were doing. You had a coat on. You had that. You actually had a winter coat on top of that shirt. I thought, what?
Well, I try to keep the temperature fairly cool in here.
Right,
Also, our propane prices have gone so sky high. I'm paying more than twice what I paid last year.
right.
So we're keeping it a little cooler.
What's Alice say to that? She's okay.
She's wearing two coats.
And Ray, you must have. You're up in the mountains. You're in Never's Neverland there. Where you must be getting some snow.
No snow, but we had 22 degrees yesterday morning.
Oh,
So that is a little chilly up here. But now it's 43, and I do like the change of seasons. So I don't mind it when it gets colder because I know the warmth won't be too far behind.
there you go. There you go. And Ray from Oklahoma, the balmy capital.
Bill,
Bill James. Sorry, Bill. Bill.
Oh, no problem. It's 55 degrees, blue skies, sun shining. It's a beautiful day, at least turning uh, out to be. So it's been rather pleasant. No rain though. We need moisture.
Need some more rain. Bill is, of course, the gadget guy, and he's going to have another article in our Tuesday newsletter, and he's got lots of gadgets, and he's going to be on the show on Thursday, right?
Yes.
You'll be on the show this Thursday, Tech for Senior Live this Thursday, and he'll be talking about all the new gadgets. The problem is that all these gadgets he puts in their newsletter. We send out a newsletter twice a week. It goes out on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I end up ordering a lot of your gadgets. I'm going broke slowly with all these gadgets you have. So anyway, it does work out. It is sort of fun.
It's been
Anyway,
a lot of fun.
we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Eh?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I hope everyone enjoys those. I try to do a little background, not my original writings. I cut and paste and steal and do all of that, but I try to give a little background to the gadget that I'm presenting. And tomorrow, I think you'll find one is going to be really interesting. So I hope everyone's enjoying those.
Yeah. So I am, and I'm spending money. All right. So the big announcement. Hewie and I talked about this weekend, and we're getting into a fight. We're going to have a boxing match. And and part of the reason is he's on his way home today. He's going to go and get some boxing gloves. And we are going to have a knockdown boxing match on one of these episodes. Now, we haven't picked the episode yet, but it will be in January. Now, we're really not going to duke it out because we're friends. But what we are going to have is a knockdown debate. And we're going to have a debate on, should you back up your hard drive? And Dewey or Hewie is going to argue that you should. And he's going to tell you all the reasons why you should back up your hard drive. I'm going to argue that you shouldn't. And there's no reason to back up your hard drive. Now you're all going to say, what? But I'm going to win this. I'm going to get bigger boxing gloves, and I'm going to really get that guy. And I'm going to really argue my case. So we're going to have a show this in January, and we're going to do the debate. We'll probably do a poll before the debate. Then you'll get 10 minutes. I'll get 10 minutes. And I'm not quite sure whether we might do a rebuttal, where you get 5 minutes to rebut, and then everyone will redo the poll and see what everyone says. But we're both going to argue. He's going to argue for backing up. I'm going to argue against backing up. And we'll see what I think. It should be a fun show. And the whole point is to have a learning experience. And thank you, Steve, for getting us on this track, because you and I spent a lot of time talking this week and thought we could make a really cool show about that. We haven't picked the exact time yet. We'll do it, but it'll be sometime in January. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I think so.
There you go.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending December 10th, 2021. Scammers pose as crypto support on Twitter. A crypto support bot scam discovered in May has now increased and widened its breadth of targeting cryptocurrency users. The way it works is that scammers monitor every tweet on Twitter for specific keywords, such as the crypto platform names MetaMask, Phantom, Euro, and Trust Wallet, as well as other words like support, help, and assistance. When such a tweet is detected, the scammer's bot instantly replies to the user, offering false assistance and urging them to click a link. If the user falls for it, the scammers then work on the user, using social engineering to obtain the recovery phrase for the user's cryptocurrency account. Once the scammer gets that, they steal that user's cryptocurrency. If they get their hands on a wallet recovery phrase, they can steal it and make it theirs instantly, and there is no way for the real owner to get his money back. For more on this story, see Bleeping Computer. Messenger Kids gets an upgrade. Meta has announced that the child-friendly version of Meta Messenger designed for kids 6 to 12 will be getting some new features in the coming weeks, including dark mode and voice effects. Dark mode has been available for the regular version of Messenger since 2019, but will now be made available for Messenger Kids. The new voice effects feature allows users to play with audio filters after they've recorded a voice message, giving them the option to sound like a robot, ghost, gorilla, mouse, or as if they're talking into a seashell. For more on this story, see The Verge. Instagram Take a Break feature launches next week. The same week, Instagram chief Adam Mosseri appeared before the U.S. Senate to answer questions about online safety. The company announced that its Take a Break feature will launch next week in the U.S., Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. The feature prompts any user who has been scrolling for a certain amount of time to take a break from the platform, advising them to set reminders for future breaks as well. Teenage users will also be prompted to turn on break reminders, and a new feature coming in March 2022 will allow parents to see how much time their children spend on the app. For more details, see BBC News. 1 year later, Nobelium hackers still use formidable TTPSs. Hackers associated with the SolarWinds hack last year have been observed continuing to use the same tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPSs, to hack into a large number of private databases as quickly as possible. The SolarWinds hack was a Kremlin-based operation that targeted network management provider SolarWinds, thereby gaining access to the networks belonging to 100 of its highest-profile customers, including U.S. federal agencies. Microsoft named the hacking group Nobelium, and some of its members are still currently active, now attacking cloud solution providers, CSPSs, in order to gain access to their clients' networks. For more, see Ars Technica. Life360 Family app sells its users' location data. According to the markup, popular family safety app Life360 sells precise location information on its 33 million users. Through interviews with 2 former employees of the company, along with 2 individuals who formerly worked at location data brokers Cubic and Xmode, the markup discovered that the apps act as a fire hose of data for a controversial industry that has operated in the shadows, reads the report. It goes on to say that the raw location data captured by the app is highly valuable information and sold to about a dozen different data brokers. Life360 has been selling data since 2016, but CEO Chris Hulls said that the company does not sell to government agency or law enforcement. Massive attack against 1.6 million WordPress sites underway. WordFence analysts report having detected a massive wave of attacks in the last couple of days, originating from 16,000 IPs and targeting over 1.6 million WordPress sites. The threat actors target 4 WordPress plugins and 15 Epsilon framework themes, one of which has no available patch. Some of the targeted plugins were patched all the way back in 2018, while others had their vulnerabilities addressed as recently as this week. It is recommended to update your plugins and themes as soon as possible, even if they're not in the above list. If you're using NatureMag Lite, for which there's no fix, you should uninstall it immediately. For more details on this, see Bleeping Computer. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Throughout this year, cybercriminals continue to take advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic, exploiting people's habits formed during lockdown to spread scams. Join us as we take a look at the most prominent security threats of 2021. Read the article at the following link or watch my video on this topic at the other link. That wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Just to remind everyone that Bob not only writes articles about security, but he writes articles on a lot of different topics, including Windows 11 and many other ideas. And these can be found on his website, and also the links to all of this is in our newsletter right under his article there. So thank you, Bob, for all you do, and thank you for those many videos you keep pouring out. We'll hear more of those later on today. Thank you so much. All right. Dewey, of course, is at Silveridge, and but he did send his weekly video in, so we're going to play that. And this is a news update, and this is from Dewey. Let me just share this.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is Tech News Update, December 13, 2021. It's great to be back after a 2-week hiatus, during which my honey and I packed up and left our suburban Twin Cities, Minnesota home for the warmer and sunnier climes of Arizona. For the first time in 23 years, we flew to Arizona instead of driving. Our daughter Julie and son-in-law Troy arrived 3 days later with our car fully packed with stuff that will make our place at Silveridge RV Resort in Mesa feel very much like home for the next 4 months. Today's Tech Talk begins with the happy announcement that Roku devices won't be losing YouTube TV and YouTube after all. You'll recall I told you about that perhaps a month ago. Last Wednesday, howtogeek.com reported that Google and Roku have agreed to a long-term deal that will keep YouTube on Roku's platform and bring YouTube TV back. Not only will Roku users be able to continue to download and use the YouTube app, but the YouTube TV app will return to the Roku store, giving users the whole YouTube experience. You may recall they withdrew it from the store last April. Back in August, GM issued a recall over battery fires in the Chevy Bolt electric vehicle and electric utility vehicle. Eventually, over 140,000 vehicles became part of this giant recall, costing nearly $1.9 billion, which battery manufacturer LG Chem took responsibility to pay for. LG Chem and GM are currently busy replacing battery cells in 2019 Bolts, with other model years replacements following soon. According to ReviewGeek.com, these problems are causing GM to halt Bolt production until latter January. It's been halted for a while. A related article last Thursday stated that GM will avoid China to solve future electric vehicle shortages. The reason is that permanent magnets are a key component of electric vehicle motors and renewable energy technology, but around 90% of the rare earth metals required to build these magnets are currently sourced in China. That's a big problem for manufacturers, not just because of growing political tension, but also because of skyrocketing demand for permanent magnets. The good news is that GM seems to have a simple solution to the problem, though not an immediate one. In collaboration with MP Materials of Mountain Pass, California, GM will develop a domestic supply chain for rare earth metals and permanent magnets. MP Materials' huge mine in Mountain Pass, California, will source rare earth materials and turn these into neodymium, the simplified name of neodymium iron boron, NiB, which is often called neomagnet alloy. The processed alloy will then find its way to a magnet manufacturing facility in Fort Worth, Texas, which GM plans to erect by 2024. GM estimates that this supply chain will produce 1,000 tons of permanent magnets each year. That's enough magnets to build 500,000 electric vehicle motors, which should significantly supplement the imported supply from China. Electric cars use multiple motors, and GM will produce way more than 200,000 electric vehicles each year by the time MP Materials California mine is in full swing, which is likely in 2025 or later. It's typical of steps that GM and rivals like Ford have taken to reduce their reliance on global trade and sourcing. My Galaxy S8 phone is 4 years old this month. I've really enjoyed using this phone, except for the nagging intrusion of Bixby, which was mostly during the first 3 years of ownership. Bixby is Samsung's personal assistant, and it debuted back on the Galaxy S8, my phone, and the S8 Plus. It was an integral part of the phone's operation. Samsung placed the Bixby button on the left side of the phone, where the user's left thumb would commonly hold the phone, as the photo illustrates. It was very difficult to keep from accidentally activating it. That illustration shows the guy's thumb right on the Bixby button. Because of my personal disdain for Bixby, my attention peaked recently when I saw an article at reviewgeek.com titled, "Why It's Time for Samsung to Kill Bixby." When Bixby debuted in 2017, that's when I got my phone, industry experts thought it might find a place alongside Siri and the Google Assistant, but it didn't work out that way. Instead, it ended up being about as popular as Microsoft's Cortana. So where did Bixby go wrong, and should Samsung even keep it? Well, for starters, Android already has a superior assistant in the Google Assistant, one of the most functional voice assistants available. By the time Bixby launched, Google Assistant had already been around for a year and worked seamlessly on many devices across several brands. Bixby only worked on Samsung devices. It was their baby. In fact, if you Google Bixby, you'll likely find more articles about disabling or removing Bixby than guides on using its features. Later models of Samsung phones like the S10 allowed users to remap the Bixby button, with that functionality rolling back to the S9 and S8, which is why Bixby isn't as big a problem with my phone now. They did this just in the last year. The Bixby button disappeared entirely from the Samsung Note 10 onward. Bixby still receives regular updates, and Samsung still seems to be trying to crowbar its creation into people's lives. All that effort seemed like a waste of resources, especially since there are areas where Samsung could excel while directing its focus. One of these is in the smart home sector, where Samsung is already a respected leader with its SmartThings app. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Samsung SmartThings app aims to streamline your smart home. That's a coming thing that's very important. SmartThings was introduced in 2015 and quickly became one of the most open platforms in the field of big smart home ecosystems. It offers support for both Zigbee and Z-Wave protocols. Don't ask me to explain that. It's above of my pay grade. According to a recent article in TheVerge.com, Samsung will be joining Google and Apple in adopting a new smart home connectivity standard called Matter. Remember that name. Matter is on track to become the de facto smart home application protocol. Once Matter goes live early next year, the idea is to simplify the purchase and setup of connected smart home devices. The goal of Matter is to make setup and connection of every smart home device totally universal and as easy as screwing in a light bulb. Also, all existing SmartThings hubs will adopt the new Matter standard. With Matter, consumers can confidently buy any Matter compliant smart home device and know it will work with their smart home platform and voice assistant of choice. In other words, whether you're using the Google Home app, the SmartThings app, or the Apple Home app to control your devices, you needn't worry if it's Google enabled, SmartThings enabled, or Apple HomeKit enabled. Concerning hubs, Samsung is moving away from making its own SmartThings hub. Instead, the AEO Tech Smart Home Hub is now the preferred SmartThings base for anyone who wants to directly connect with either Zigbee or Z-Wave devices. In terms of Samsung products, Samsung will enable Matter as a controller for its TVs and smart appliances, as well as other Galaxy products. Samsung is still working on which products will be Matter enabled, but it's safe to assume that it will include Samsung smartphones to enable easy setup and control of Matter enabled smart home devices. There is, however, one snag. Samsung integrated Bixby into SmartThings. Some folks, including me, think that could be a downer for Samsung. With these two services integrally linked, some people may be put off and driven to one of the other smart home apps. Dave McQuilling, author of the previously referenced ReviewGeek.com article, agrees, suggesting that if Samsung's SmartThings app would drop Bixby, it could become one of the great all-in-one places to manage Matter-enabled. Remember what Matter is, Matter-enabled smart home devices. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I am sticking with it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and the good Lord willing, we'll see you next year, or next week, I should say. Okay.
Good. Are you here, Dewey? Is Dewey here? Did he come over and log in yet? Don't see him yet. All right. So, all right. Excuse me. All right. So let's see now. Bob, you're up next.
If you're interested in internet security, and most of you probably are, there's something new in Microsoft Edge that you might want to know about. It's called Super Duper Secure Mode. And if you want to read all the details about that setting and its effect, take a look at the article in Review Geek on this topic. I'm going to show you how to get this thing started so that if you want to make your Edge browser more secure, this is how it gets done. Start by selecting the three-dot menu, go down to Settings. Once this opens, we want Privacy, Search, and Services. And once this opens, scroll down until you get to something called Enable Security Mitigations for a more secure browser experience. To make this thing simple, many sites still use JavaScript, and there's something used to speed up the JavaScript, and that particular function to speed up the JavaScript is what makes it unsecure. So by stopping that portion, you automatically increase the security of your website. The drawback to this is any website that uses lots of JavaScript will wind up being slowed down. So you need to be careful. On some sites, it will slow down the website. It can also break some things on the website that depend on lots of JavaScript. So you might not want to use this on YouTube because YouTube uses lots of Java. Many places, this increases your security and it's well worth taking advantage of. You need to activate this or put the slider to the on position. And I recommend that you use the balanced method. Strict might give you a little bit more security, but it's not worth the trade-off because you'll have lots more broken sites. So stay with balanced. And as soon as you've done that, you now have a more secure web browser. That's all it takes. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. That's great. Ray, I want to
Yeah.
use my phone with my computer. How do I do that?
All right, let's see if we can figure it out. I'm going to show you a little PowerPoint here. Hopefully it'll, let me see if that'll help here. Here we go. So the Your Phone app, I'm going to call it YPA. That was added to Windows 10 back in 2018, but I think this has been kept a secret because the folks that I've asked, most of them are not using it. It works for notifications, photos, and calls on your phone. But for me, the absolute best benefit is receiving and sending text messages. Now, there's limited usage, in fact, hardly any usage on iPhones, because the iPhones at this point in time, they're locked much more heavily than a similar Android phone. So to get started, we just type the words "your phone" in the search box, and the app should pop up. And as was typically, this was preloaded on most Windows 10 computers. If not, it's easy to download from the Microsoft Store. And then you open the same app on your Android phone. And if necessary, you can download that from the Play Store. Now, many Samsung phones already have this pre-installed. Finally, instructions will appear asking you to sync your phone with your computer. Now, one of the features is notifications. They'll show up on your phone as they will also appear in the Your Phone app. And the notifications clear from your computer. They also clear from your phone. You can get, if you use the inviting apps that invite you to different meetings and whatnot, they can be responded to. But I think it's best to customize notifications. They can be turned off if they're already appearing on your phone. Calls, you'll get a history of all your recent phone calls. They can be displayed on a much larger screen than the small screen in your phone. So for review purposes, this makes them easier to read. And photos, you can have up to 2,000 photos on your phone, can be accessed through the Your Phone app. You can open in the app the photo itself. You can edit it and then save a copy with your editing, but the original photo on your phone stays unchanged. Here's what I like about it too. Photos taken with the phone are immediately available and can be pasted into an app like Word or PowerPoint. And the photos you don't want can be deleted directly from the Your Phone app. By far, as I said, messages is the best feature for me, mainly because I type faster with 9 fingers than I do with 2 thumbs. I bet most of you agree. With the messages feature, you can see them on a much larger screen and begin typing your response with 1 click. Messages in the YPA from the last 30 days only, so it doesn't clog up, but you cannot delete the messages from the app, only from the phone. So let me show you an example of what I have in mind. This is an actual example. Recently, and I've noticed many of my different contacts are tending to send me long text messages. Forget the original 140 characters. They're sending text messages instead of email. And in some cases, that's good because I'll see it immediately without me having to log in to read my email. but when I have to respond, took me forever. So the upper image on the right is a lengthy text message my friend Paul sent me recently, and my response needed to be equally long and would have taken me considerably more time to reply if I used my phone. But I was at home when Paul's message arrived. I walked over to my computer, brought up the YPA app, and typed and sent my response quickly. This made me more productive. So I think it's worth taking a look. It's called the Your Phone app. Just as I said, type that in the search box. It's worth a try, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Ray. That was good. I use that app. I didn't know about the picture, so I'll have to go back and look at that. That's interesting, eh?
Yeah, because let's say you're working on a project, you take a picture, and you can immediately put it in a document.
Sure. I think Dewey came in. Dewey, do you want to say hello to everyone just briefly?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm here after our computer club meeting and happy to be here. Hope everything is going well.
That's great. We played your segment. It was great. Thank you so much for doing it. That's good. All right, so we're going to move on with Hewie's Starlink report. So we haven't had a Starlink report for a while, but let's find out what's going on with Starlink.
The Starlink report.
For December 13th, 2021, I'm Hewie Poplock. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Many of those who are waiting for Starlink are learning that they are going to have to wait even longer for the service. Starlink recently sent an update to many people who have placed their pre-orders, and it's not looking good. They are being told that it could be a full year away, mid-2022. Starlink says in its update that over 14 million people have inquired about Starlink and that right now it's in over 20 countries. They're asking those who have already committed to check the delivery timeline in their account. It received over 500,000 pre-order deposits through its official web portal, starlink.com. The company has faced challenges with the production of Starlink antenna due to silicone chip shortages caused by the coronavirus pandemic that affected many industries. They say they're working hard across their engineering supply chain and production teams to improve and streamline the product and factory to increase their production rate. However, many people have canceled their deposit and got a refund. The recently released rectangle dish is designed for high-volume manufacturing. They have recently launched their 31st Starlink satellite group with the newly designed satellites with the inter-laser links that can talk to each other. Starlink 1.5 laser feature enables the satellites to transfer data between one another much faster without the need to directly communicate with the ground stations on Earth. Light travels faster in the vacuum of outer space than through the fiber optic cables used by terrestrial internet infrastructures. On December 2nd, SpaceX launched the first of 4 planned Falcon 9 rocket launches this month, with its workhorse rocket carrying a stack of 48 Starlink satellites and 2 Black Sky Earth observation satellites into orbit. Engineers designed a new rectangular antenna to connect the network that would enable them to manufacture in a cost-effective way. We modified the bill of materials where we needed to such that we wouldn't have those constraints with the new dish. The new Starlink antenna is already available for pre-order. Johnson said the company is manufacturing 5,000 user terminals per week and aims to increase production to multiple times of that with the new design. Here is the new design as opposed to the former dishy. And looking at the Starlink dish itself, you'll see that it's much smaller. It's 19 by 12, where it was a 23 inches in circumference. It weighs just over 9 pounds against the 16 pound of the dishy. The biggest differences in the router is the fact that the temperature is considerably different. The original dish had one Ethernet port. The new dish, you have to have an adapter if you want to. The cable is slightly shorter, it's 75 feet instead of 100 feet, you can get a 175-foot cable. SpaceX and NASA are running into challenges in outer space. It all started on November 15th when Russia launched a missile strike to destroy one of its own old satellites in orbit during an anti-satellite test. The satellite was smashed into 1,000 pieces that are orbiting Earth now and pose a potential threat to astronauts and operational satellites in orbit. The Russian authorities did not inform global space agencies it would conduct a missile test, and the effects of the operation became a threat to NASA astronauts and Russian cosmonauts who are working aboard the International Space Station. The United States Department of Defense says it's tracking over 1,500 new pieces of debris caused by the missile strike. Some pieces are too small that cannot be traced but pose an equal danger to the astronauts in orbit because the pieces are flying at high speeds. The pieces in orbit can travel 10 times faster than a bullet, which can cause damage to other orbiting objects, including ISS. The astronauts had to take shelter inside their spacecraft when the ASAT took place because the debris is orbiting close to the space station every 90 minutes. Most recently, NASA postponed a spacewalk that was scheduled to take place on Tuesday, November 30th, due to a space debris alert by Mission Control. SpaceX founder Elon Musk shared that the company had to shift some Starlink satellite orbits to avoid collision with the space debris. Starlink utilizes an automated collision avoidance system, ingesting data from the 18th, the company told the FCC earlier this year. Satellites can autonomously evaluate risk and plan avoidance maneuvers without human input. Humans are still present in an oversight role as an added measure of safety, SpaceX stated. Each satellite can use their onboard krypton-powered ion thrusters to move. This propulsion system can also be used to deorbit a satellite if it stops working. To avoid contributing to space junk, the satellites are designed to easily burn up in Earth's atmosphere. SpaceX Vice President of Commercial Sales, Jonathan Hofeller, said that SpaceX aims to offer Starlink internet service to airlines as soon as possible, stating that they are already testing it with several aircraft. SpaceX founder Elon Musk shared earlier this year that Starlink is undergoing testing on Gulfstream jets, and they are focused on obtaining a license to provide internet aboard Boeing 737 and Airbus 320 aircraft, as those serve the most number of people, he says. With the December 2nd Starlink deployment, SpaceX constellation increased to around 1,892 internet beaming satellites in low Earth orbit. Over the next 7 years, the constellation could have over 12,000 satellites that will blanket the Earth with high-speed broadband internet connection. Elon Musk tells SpaceX employees that Starship engine crisis is creating a risk of bankruptcy. Some of the key points: Elon Musk described a dire situation with SpaceX development of Raptor rocket engines the day after Thanksgiving in a company-wide email. The Raptor production crisis is much worse than it seemed a few weeks ago, Musk wrote. Raptor engines power the company's Starship rocket, with Musk adding that SpaceX faces a genuine risk of bankruptcy if we cannot achieve a Starship flight rate of at least 2 every 2 weeks next year. This week, a Starlink user from the province of Newfoundland in Canada shared that the network reached a new internet download speed record. It surpassed 400 megabits per second. This has been the Starlink Report for December 13th, 2021. I'm Hewie Poplock.
The Starlink Report.
Avast takes a look back at the most prominent threats of 2021. Throughout 2021, Cybercriminals continue to take advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic, exploiting people's habits formed during lockdown to spread scams. Ransomware, crypto malware, and scams continued to prevail. And on the mobile side, adware and fleeceware were among the top threats. The pandemic has changed nearly every aspect of everyone's lives, and that includes the cyber world too, said Michael Salat, Director of Threat Intelligence at Avast. Attackers' methods are becoming more sophisticated. Cybercriminals are using techniques that make them harder to spot and carry out more personalized cyber attacks. They are also adding a new spin on tried and tested techniques, especially in social engineering type of attacks like scams. Both businesses and consumers were heavily targeted by ransomware attacks. Ransomware attacks persisted in 2021, with businesses like Kia Motors, Acer Colonial Pipeline, and Kaseya being infected. Avast observed a 38% increase in ransomware attacks targeting consumers globally. When comparing the last 5 months of 2021, June through October, to the first 5 months of the year, January through May, businesses globally also experienced an increased number of attacks during June to October. The chances for them being targeted by ransomware grew by 32% when compared to the first 5 months of this year, January through May, from 0.073% to 0.1%. Sextortion, parcel delivery, and tech support scams. Cybercriminals persisted to use the pandemic to their advantage, spreading scams and phishing attacks to exploit people's new habits, like online communications and shopping. Avast researchers saw a flood in sextortion scams, with over 500,000 sextortion scams blocked. This campaign takes advantage of the increased use of video conferencing services during the COVID-19 pandemic, falsely claiming to have accessed a user's device and camera. Users in several countries have also been receiving SMS messages linking to a banking Trojan called FluBot, which impersonates parcel delivery companies in order to steal credentials and other personal data, and being targeted by tech support scams. These attacks trick victims into believing their computer has been infected by malware and that their only recourse is to call a phone hotline for technical support, which is totally unnecessary. In general, phishing attacks continued to increase during 2021. The chances of businesses encountering phishing scams had increased by 40% in June to October. Nevertheless, consumers remained the main target of this type of threat. The average risk ratio for them this year was 67% higher than for business users, 5.78% versus 3.53%. And the chances of consumers encountering this threat also grew by 20% in June to October. This year, Avast Threat Labs identified a wide variety of new threats aimed at profiting from or mining cryptocurrencies at users' expenses. Some of the main ones that impacted many countries around the world were Krakonosh and Blue Stealer. The former was included in cracked versions of major games and is a cryptocurrency mining malware. The latter, Blue Stealer, is a keylogger, document uploader, and cryptocurrency thief, and a single malware that, like FluBot, took advantage of people ordering online during the pandemic and spread through a malicious spam campaign. In addition to Krakonosh and Blue Stealer, Avast researchers also found cryptocurrency stealing malware that was distributed through HackBoss, a Telegram channel which at the time of discovery had stolen over 560,000 from victims. Mobile threats continue to spread and diversify with lockdown restrictions. Adware still is the most significant threat on Android phones and tablets across the globe. Globally, 54.7% of mobile threats detected from January to September were adware. Fake apps came in second at 10%, banking Trojans in third at 9.6%, followed by downloaders with 7.5% and spyware with 2.3%. Fleeceware apps also proved to be a serious concern to users in 2021. Avast discovered more than 200 new fleeceware applications on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. These apps promised free trials but ended up extracting hundreds of dollars from their users through subscription services. Most recently, Avast discovered fraudulent sites masquerading as national postal services from various countries in Europe, including retail shops from the Czech Republic, Russia, Sweden, and Ukraine. Risks to users were not only originated by bad actors in 2021. In early September, Avast researchers found more than 19,300 Android apps that potentially exposed user data due to an incorrect configuration of the Firebase database, an Android tool that developers can use with the purpose of storing user data. This affected a wide range of different apps, including lifestyle, fitness, gaming, food delivery, and mailing apps in regions around the world, and exposed personally identifiable information such as names, addresses, location, data, and, in some cases, even passwords. Looking back at 2021, cybercriminals kept up many of their tricks this year, using social engineering to spread malware to get their hands on people's money, abusing technology such as stalkerware to violate people's privacy, or deceiving vulnerable audiences into paying for fleeceware apps or unneeded tech support, concludes Michael Salat. We are seeing increasing online harms that affect how people experience the digital world. Everyone is being targeted, from everyday users to hospitals to oil pipelines to food companies globally. We hope by raising awareness around what we observed this year, we can help prevent people from falling victims in 2022. Credit for this article goes to Grace Mache. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks a lot. Ray, my toes are tapping, but before you get start our music segment, let's say goodbye to our YouTube group. Those of you who are over on YouTube, thank you for coming. If you want to pop over here and participate in our Q&A, you're most welcome to do so. But we're going to be ending the live stream now. If you don't forget Tech for Senior Live this coming Thursday, and we'll see you back on our YouTube feed next week. Okay, Ray, go ahead.
All right.
Live, thank you.
The Christmas song. Some of us know it as chestnuts roasting on an open fire. So I mentioned last week, Bing Crosby, his White Christmas version continues to be the best-selling single of all time. But for me, Nat King Cole's The Christmas Song is my favorite classic from the 1940s that continues to be ever so popular decades later. In fact, according to BMI, it's Broadcast Music Incorporated, this is the most performed Christmas song. The music and some of the lyrics were written by Mel Torme during the hot summer months. He said he did this as a way to have wintry thoughts to keep cool. Now, the Nat King Cole Trio was the first to record the song in 1946, but Cole's individual recording in 1961 with a full orchestra using the relatively new stereophonic sound technique is the definitive version we all relate to. Nat King Cole was born in Montgomery, Alabama in 1919. After deciding he wanted to pursue a career in music, he formed the Nat King Cole Trio that included a guitarist and a bass player. Cole is quoted as saying, "I started out to become a jazz pianist. In the meantime, I started singing, and I sang the way I felt, and that's just the way it came out." In 1956, the Nat King Cole Show debuted on television, but it was short-lived as they could not find a national sponsor. But from then on, Nat King Cole focused on his recordings, and in 1959 received the Grammy Award for Best Performance by a Top Artist. Cole was a heavy cigarette smoker, and in 1964, he was diagnosed with a malignant lung tumor. Some months later, specifically February 1965, he died at the relatively young age of 45 years of age. But thanks to technology, his songs will always be with us. So I'm going to put in the chat box the clip, the link for today's song. And I'm also going to put a link for over an hour-long classic Christmas music list, including Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Elvis Presley, Bing Crosby, even with a fireplace in the background. So if you have company over on Christmas Day and you want to have some music playing in the background, this might be the way to go. So let me just make one change over here. More. And there you go. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. Favorite, I'm sure most people here. Just remember, everyone, that in our newsletter tomorrow, Ray will have his playlist there, and you can simply copy that over, and you can listen to all the great songs that Ray has put on our show. And just, it goes on forever, right, Ray? You just listen to them for hours and hours as a playlist. So it is,
Yes.
It is in our Tuesday newsletter. So thank you, Ray, for all you do. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that came today. It was an hour has passed. It's flipped by so quickly. Please, we'll be starting the Q&A session now. But before we do that, just want to remind everybody that at 1:30, we, of course, will be starting with our premiere service, and we'll have, I won't go through the list again, but it will be starting, and you can listen to what we did one year ago. Don't forget again that this Thursday, Bill James is going to be on our show. I'm looking so forward to this on Thursday. He's going to be talking about gadgets as well. So we're going to have lots of fun with that. And of course, when Hewie gets back, we are going to plan our duking it out in the new year. We're going to have a drop down. We're going to have a big fight, and we're going to do opposing sides to backing up. So lots coming up. Should be lots of fun. Now, let's move on to the Q&A. If you, down in the reactions button at the bottom on the right-hand side there, you'll see reactions. Click that. It puts your hand up. And that's really helpful because I've got a whole bunch of screens here. There's 3 screens of people, lots of people in the audience today, and I can't see everybody. So there you go. Bill's just put his hand up, and it pops you right up to the top so we can see who the heck you are. Okay, so if you could do that, and we'll spend the next 20 minutes doing some Q&A, and then that will be it for the show. Bill, go ahead.
Yes. Did anybody else have audio breaking up on the music?
Yeah, toward
Yes.
the end.
Yeah. It
Oh,
is,
okay.
and I suspect that's Ray. I think that's got to be the internet. That's just an internet speed thing. That's
Yeah, I'm listening through my headphones here, and I didn't notice that. So it must be something, as you said, with the connection.
It's an
and going out.
internet, connection.
Thanks.
If you play it from the tomorrow, or I have the link again in the chat box already. If you click on that, then it'll be perfect for you.
Yeah, because it's a YouTube video, so it'll just come off the feed, so that should do well. Any other questions? We usually have a bunch, or if you just want to say something.
This is Donna again.
Go ahead,
Ray
Donna.
those 2 links to the music, Christmas music, in the newsletter that comes out tomorrow? I'm on this Kindle. I can't copy anything. I'm not going to use it ever again. I hate it. But anyway, could it go in the newsletter as well, Ray? I'm hoping.
Yeah, Ron actually does it all, and
Yeah.
he has my Word document already, and he will put it in the newsletter, and you'll have the links.
But I'm talking about the 2 links you ended with.
Yes.
Nat. Oh, okay, they'll
Both.
be there also.
Yes, they
All
will.
right, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And any other questions? We've got, surely there's got to be some questions. We didn't, Bob, oh, good. Chris and Jim. I guess it's Jim rather than Chris.
Yeah. Chris just left me for a minute. She had to run away. So. No.
Just for those of you who don't know, Chris and Jim with Geeks on Tour have that really, really famous show on Monday morning or Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, I guess. What does this button do? And it's my favorite show on Sunday afternoon. And so welcome to the show. They're
I heard my name.
Yeah, there you go. Tell us about your new phone. How's it working?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've 4 lenses.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing.
That's what's really amazing. The 4 lenses. I have used it like binoculars. The telephoto is so good.
Just tell us which one you got again, Chris.
This is the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra.
5G.
5G, yeah.
Don't forget the 5G.
Although I haven't seen much 5G, so no big deal. The main reason I got it was
that's because she never gets out of the house. Anyway, but yeah, we did want to stop by and wish everyone a
Tell us more about binoculars.
No. What about it?
It's just the 10X.
Do you use your virtual goggles for that?
No, but you want to talk about that?
Yeah, have you tried the metaverse stuff on the Quest 2 yet? I've done it a couple of times. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we want to meet up with you, Ron, in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Really?
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we need to get together and we can have a virtual meeting and
a virtual meeting. We'll do that.
Metaverse. It'll blow your mind.
Meanwhile, did you tell him that you got the?
Oh, I got the pin. The one that Michael
because
had.
of yours. Oh no, it wasn't you. It was Michael. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And it works on everything. It works on the Surface. It works on the Chromebook. It works on my Pixel. It works on her Samsung, and on the iDevices, the iPhone and the iPad. It works on everything, and it charges with a C connector. So, Bill, do you have this one yet?
I don't. I'm just hearing about this.
Oh, okay. It's
Something.
really
Put something
nice.
in the chat so I can look
Yeah,
for it.
let me look for a link. I'll put the Amazon link on, and
It's pretty cool because
I'll have to set it up for our affiliate link though first.
All right.
As well.
All right.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks for
That's
coming.
all I
on the
got.
show.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
And that was great, Ray. Really, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Your whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Neil, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. I've got an XP computer. What can I do with it?
Yeah.
Door stuff.
Boat anchor.
Boat anchor.
That's it. I thought maybe I could update it, but it won't update.
No. Time for a new one.
It'll still do everything it was designed to do, though.
Right.
Well,
as long
yeah.
as you're not online, you're fine.
Right.
I
Game
just
playing
wouldn't
is
use
great.
it to go online.
Yeah, it's got some photos in it. I think I'm going to remove those and
Send
I
them
tried-
send them up to Google Photos.
Now,
they
one
may
thing-
they may be there, but I don't know where my Google Photos are anymore.
Oh,
I mean, that goes back 15 years. So
Neil, one thing you could do with it. Now, I don't know how adventurous you are. Murray could probably give you some help with that. It would probably run just fine. So, I mean, yeah,
you
you know the level of.
you're
Ron,
breaking up.
You're breaking up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird.
I think you meant to say Linux.
Linux,
I
yeah.
hear that part.
You could put Linux on it.
I have put Linux on another computer, and I'm sorry, I'm old, and I'm not willing to take the time and the energy it takes. I've tried several times, so
Right.
I'm going to stick with Windows.
Okay. All right.
Good idea. Thank
New
you.
computer.
Good. I could kind of convince my wife.
Okay. Pam, go ahead. Pamela?
Yeah.
I have an unrelated question about email boxes like Outlook. Is it all right if I ask that question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, can I share my screen?
That gets a little problematic. Can you just tell us briefly what it is?
Well, it was going to be easier to show you, but so when you have a mailbox, you can save, you can create folders, and you can create it right under the mailbox, or you can create it under the inbox. And I was wondering, and then some of the boxes already pre-created with Outlook. And I was wondering if it made any difference creating a folder and putting it right under your mailbox name versus the inbox.
Do we have it? It's a sort of a specialized comment. Do you have it? Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Use Outlook.
Yeah, well, Pam, I'm not sure that's a really, I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. That's a very specialized question. I'm not sure quite how to deal with that.
Okay, and Bob, I am using Outlook.
Yeah.
I'm talking about with any email group or email functions. Do you think it matters where you place your folders?
Chris, do you copy that?
I haven't used folders in a while, but I think it's just a personal organizational style type thing. I don't think it matters, whatever works for you.
Okay, so you don't think it matters backing up that kind of thing if you were to save it or download your email into a file so you can pull it over somewhere else? It doesn't matter.
Well, I hear you. That's a good question. You probably should test that. I mean, if it sounds to me like you're wanting to have some folders that are up above the inbox rather than within. And if you put it there, will it get backed up? I don't know the answer to that. I would hope so. I mean, Outlook is all in one giant package, as I recall, the way it does its backup. So I would assume it would, but that would be something to test.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for helping us there. That was great. John, go ahead.
For Neil's benefit, I've got an XP that I use, and I can store anything in there that I want to. And it's not hooked up online, and it's just a good storage box where you put all kinds of stuff in there, photos and everything else.
Good comment. Yep. Great. Thanks, John. Irving, go ahead.
Hi. I just wanted to let you know that I came across your preview video. That was a great idea. And I don't mind if you keep them coming.
I'm having fun with them because I have a DJI Logicam, like a DJI camera, and I'm trying to find a use for it. So walking around the town I live in and doing some selfies is sort of fun. And I've got some cool ideas for the for this coming year. Also, I bought a drone, as you know, so I'm going to become a drone pilot. So I have this vision of the drone flying down to me, and then I'll be doing the intro with the drone in front of me. I got all sorts of ideas to try and make this happen. So you'll be seeing lots of fun things in the next year. But
It'll either work or he'll have a headache. One of the two.
So I'm having lots of fun with it. So it justifies purchasing the equipment. Otherwise, I sort of sits on my shelf and I think I got to use it. So anyway, I am having fun with it, and maybe it'll get some new people coming to the show. So we'll see what we'll see how that works out.
I'll mention, Ron, that JJ put in the chat box that he uses his XP computer as a media server. And so I'm actually building my Plex, as I've told you before. It's turned out to be a much longer job than I anticipated, but I'm going to be so happy when it's done. And I'll give a full
One of
report.
one of the concerns that I would have personally would be, you really need to pull out those drives. If they're old drives in there, they're spinning drives, and put some SSDs in them. Because I mean, if you're going to set it up and you're going to, using an 8-year-old computer, and it's got those spinning drives in there, you're just setting yourself up for disaster. Right?
I bought a 6 terabyte drive to connect to it, and I'm hoping that'll be enough. But as I'm getting close, I'm thinking maybe even 6 terabytes isn't enough.
Right.
I think the problem might be is that I don't know if XP will support SSD drives though.
Oh, is that right? It won't support SSDs?
I don't know. I mean, I think there is a problem. You might want to check that first before you do any investing.
Yeah, I don't.
One of the reasons that XP is not supported anymore because there are many of the modern stuff it just doesn't know how to handle. And if you can't, you have new stuff that comes out, but the old stuff is not capable of handling it. That's one of the reasons why it goes out of favor. And many people are holding on to it, but lots of things you can't do on those old computers. The operating system isn't capable of doing the new stuff.
Irving, you still have your hand up. Did you have another question or?
No, I'm done.
You're done.
Just wanted
Okay.
to make a plan for you.
All right, that's good. All right, gee whiz, we got 3 minutes left. Someone ask a 3-minute question.
Okay.
Please check your chat.
Hey, listen, Chris, that was really a great show on Sunday.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Wasn't our guest a kick?
Yeah, that was a really great show. In fact,
and tell people what you might be thinking about doing now.
Well, Chris and I we're talking about this, and I haven't talked to Hewie yet because, of course, he was on the other channel. He can't watch it because he's doing the same thing.
Right.
But we're really looking at taking our Thursday show, and in addition to doing it as a live stream, running it as a podcast. And so Chris and I are going to work on the concept of, using a podcast, getting into podcasting. And I think the goal of that would be, Chris, really it would funnel new people into our into the fold of Tech for Senior. One of the problems that was it Keith was your
Keith, yes.
Yeah. One of the problems Keith said, and I hadn't really thought about this, he said, but it's all fine to stream to YouTube and to Facebook, but by and large, the people you're streaming to are the same people that are going to be, in your fold anyway, right? You're not streaming to new people. And the interesting thing about podcasting is it opens it up to a different network of people. So that was sort of interesting. Didn't you find that was interesting?
Well, the main thing about podcasts to me, and why I've for years thought that we probably should, but I just don't get around to it, is that you get listed on these directories.
Right.
So you get found by brand new people. That's to me the main idea behind podcasts is getting found.
I have quite a few people on the podcast that have never ever seen the video, but they know my voice. And basically it's the exact same information, only one is strictly audio and the other one is audio and video. And audio and video, besides just being on YouTube, it's also a vlog, VLOG, which is a video vlog.
That's basically what we do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
the only time it doesn't really work is if you're doing an instructional video.
That's what we do.
We always do.
So.
Right. That part just doesn't lend itself to being right. But anything else, like my security news roundups, all of the other stuff that I do, those are perfect for
Yeah, I just can't learn from the audio. I need my best is from written material because then I can go back over it more easily. And then second best is a video with graphics. But listen to a podcast, I don't learn nearly as much.
Podcast isn't designed for tutorials. Podcast is designed for passing along information. So if it's of an informational basis, that's great for a podcast. If it's for an instructional use, that has to be a video.
Right. So that's the nice thing about our Thursday show is it really is we're talking about news from the past week. And, we're just talking about that. I think that would really work well. I
Yeah,
think
your Thursday show, piece of cake.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to do it on a Monday show, but I think the Thursday would work. And so, Chris, I want to talk to you. Maybe we'll talk this week. I want to talk about what, sort of what you've done. I've done a bit of research on it, and maybe we could touch bases and see
Sure.
what we're okay. Listen,
Let's
it's
meet up in the metaverse.
Yeah. What do you do about links? What do you do about links to all of the information that you provide? Because that's what you really want. I mean, if you're going to do a podcast and you're telling about information, then you want to be able to look that up and read more about it. And so provide.
Oh
links.
yeah, you can't get links. Well, there are podcast notes.
Correct.
Lots of podcasts are listed on a web page or on a podcast app, and they can, in certain apps, have notes along with them, which
With
would
links
include,
in there.
include
I
links.
usually have a link to the video. I also have links to anything where I talk about an article that you have to refer back. All those things are included in the notes. The
And
show
what's your podcast,
notes.
Bob? What's the name of it?
Cybersecurity, huh? You're getting me blindsided.
Okay. I'll bet I could find it. Just give your name.
Cybersecurity with Bob G.
Okay.
Easy for you to say.
All right, it's 22 minutes after the hour. I want to let everyone have a rest before we move on to the premiere service that occurs at 1:30. You're welcome to watch the show. It will be starting exactly at 10:30 on our YouTube channel, and we will see everybody next week, same time, same place.
Found it, Bob.
Thank you.
142 episodes.
Yes, and more coming daily.
Very cool.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.